Hello. Abe slides with the camera. I've never seen him do this before.
A gluckin' chump has taken over a windmill and turned it into a microbrewery. Well, he's trying to anyway. Now, with false promises and plenty of brew, the native Mudokons in the area have all been turned into scrubs. Separate the chump from his change and rescue those scrubs.
So, welcome back everyone to the Munch's Oddysee LP. Today we'll be tackling the Brewery to Be level. It's one of my favorite levels in the game actually. It's not too long, it's not repetitive, and the only really bad part of it is this part right here where you have to slide down cliffs for spoos to progress. I don't think I've ever mentioned how annoying it is to slide down cliffs for spoos. It's really buggy, and for some reason Oddworld inhabitants thought it would be a good idea to have it as some sort of game mechanic throughout the game. I mean, there are just times where no matter how slow you go, you just fall off like that, and you have to like jump up the wall to get more spoos. Luckily, this is like one of the only few places where it's required. I don't like it though. It almost seems like they're trying to take advantage of the dodgy physics of the game. So today we'll be going to the windmill, which is also a scrab retreat. That's right, everyone. This level has scrabs in it from the earlier games. And if this game had any good render distance, you could actually see them. There we go. So, scrabs in Munch's Oddysee. There's a lot of them, and what can I say? Anyone who's played the 2D games may notice that they're not attacking each other. That's because these scrabs are not the same super tutorial scrabs that are found in the 2D games. It's theorized that the scrabs in the 2D games were all alpha leaders, and they were all attacking other alpha scrabs. This pack of scrabs has one alpha leader with a bunch of other lovely scrabs following it. So it makes more sense in this regard with how they act. They're faster than Abe, obviously, so you have to jump up and down to avoid getting attacked by them. And basically all you do with them is you just herd them up into pens. They're kind of like the meep herding in the previous level. I actually got all of them in one pen, which is pretty impressive. One thing to notice is that they sound different from the 2D games. They kind of have like this strange deep roaring sound. And this weird cackling noise, too. I should also mention that the paramites in this game sounded different, too. They sound like pigs in Munch's Oddysee, when in the 2D games they sound more like hissing spiders. I'm not sure why they changed the voices for that. You can actually possess the scrabs too, but like for the paramites, it doesn't really do you any good. Now here comes up this platforming section. It is not a good one. I mentioned it in the last video, but this little particular section of the level right here has a terrible camera angle. Especially this bridge. You can see whenever I pass by this bridge, I'm really careful not to fall off it. And this jump here is ridiculous. So basically what I'm doing is I'm showing you what I have to go through to get up to the top of the windmill, because you can't control the camera in any way to make it comfortable for you. And what the way the jumping is, I just can't explain how the jumping is. It's like you need to have like maximum momentum to have any significant jumping distance. That's the best way I can describe it. And with this camera, it's just really dumb and hard, and here I get frustrated and I'm like, oh, maybe I can jump straight from the ground. No. It's not gonna happen. Luckily, I think I finally get on this try when I'm really careful. You can just feel the tension here. Sneak across the bridge. Don't fall off. And get past these two jumps and we'll be golden. Oop, there we go. So we have to get inside that windmill. That's where the Gluckin chump is going to make a new Soulstorm brewery, which, just like Rupture Farms, it was an old factory Abe used to blow up, but there's multiple versions of a Soulstorm brewery. and they're trying to revive one here. These sleek guards around here aren't too much of a pain. You just have to shoot them to death, and the windmill's designed in a way that you could get any AI stuck in there and just shoot them to death. It's quite handy. You can also use sligs to shoot down any leftover scrabs. It's the only time in the Oddworld series where you can actually have a slig and a scrab interact with each other. You could do it in the 2D games through glitching, but whenever a slig shoots a scrab or a scrab tries to run over a slig, the game crashes. So, first time in a game that legitimately happens. Also, you can't go on the Abe teleporter as a slig. That'd just be silly. For some reason, it's Abe only. It's convenient. Now, let's take a look at this. These wires are connected to that windmill. And the windmill isn't particularly working that well. We gotta activate it. See these gates. We gotta open them. This windmill is much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And personally, I'm not complaining because it's one of the few times in the game where you can truly see how Oddworld architecture shines. Up here is where the Gluckin is, you know, chilling out. We have to have 3 other Mudakin buddies help us possess these chance circles to open up both doors. And they're scrubs. Scrubs can actually work out chance circles. But going back to what I was saying, this is the only, this is the few times we could see Mudakin architecture and how it works and stuff. It's very few cases where you actually see it. And, you know, I think it's neat, and I wish the game expanded more on this, which I think the developers were planning to. It's a shame. So these scrubs, you just throw them in wells, and it looks weird when you throw them in the wells, because you see the sparks fly out, but they don't fly out into the same room. They get transported into the Gluckin room. Now, of course, there's a couple of sligs here. There's only 2, and this is the only one with a gun, so you're going to want to possess him. Otherwise, you're going to try to get past him, and he'll just go all in. Maybe you could sneak up on him and throw him, but I don't know what good that'll do you. This guy, just with a bat, it's no big deal. Maybe wonder, you can actually hear the Gluckin taunting. That's because he's at the very top, and I guess this is a really, really hollow windmill. And it is. I'm going up here thinking, oh, there's more sligs, but there isn't. Every time I play through this level, I think there's more than 2 sligs, but it never happens. I swear one time before there were 3 sligs in here, but it just never happens. Not anymore. So, conveniently, there's a well here to also take us to the Gluckin room, so we don't have to take these scrubs all the way down. Very considerate. And just let them do their thing.
You help me out here? Whatever.
Now the windmill's working and the gate's open. Gluckin doesn't seem to notice, he's too busy sucking his own dick. So let's go change that. This is a chump! He's a bit above the PUD status, but still pretty low. He's still got these nerdy looking glasses on him. You can't see him because the windmill's really dark. No real Easter eggs around here. A couple of exit signs and a bunch of boxes. As you can see, his office is a work in progress. But he's got 150,000 moolah, and that's 3 times as much as the last dude. So we're just gonna get rid of it here. I'd like to mention that someone made a really good theory that the reason Abe doesn't kill the Gluckins is because living a life in poverty is a fate worse than death for a Gluckin. A much worse fate, since Gluckins rely everything involving money. And that's it! The scrubs, if you didn't see them, were teleported outside of the window. We just have to throw them off a cliff. And we just have to save them all and be done with the level. Of course, if you remember earlier, the shaman mentioned there were other scrubs that were forced to work. There are a lot of scrubs in this level. all bunched up into one place. And that guy over there got stuck on a platform. Get over here, you. So over here is where all the other scrubs are. They are working on espresso machines, which confuses me since it's supposed to be for Soulstorm Brewery. Why are there no Soulstorm Brewery machines? It's a dumb thing to nitpick. Now, it's cool to have a bunch of these dudes follow you at once, but the problem is they sometimes get stuck in edges. I don't think it happens here, but it's happened on other playthroughs. You see that guy over there, he had to go around. It's pretty much a similar issue as if you had a bunch of fuzzles following you in a cramped area. They just get kind of stuck. Still, much better than Fuzzle AI. Speaking of fuzzles, Munch hasn't been used at all in this level. He's pretty much worthless. By the way, take a look at this skeleton. What in the world is this huge thing? There's a bunch of theories around it, but most people say it's a sea rex, which was a sea animal that, like a giant whale shark, not a whale shark, but like a giant tadpole shark thing that was supposed to be a natural predator for Munch in the water. And it was cancelled, but there's still footage of it, and I'll make sure to link it in the post that links to this video, because it's really interesting. Anyway, we're done with the level. That's it. We got everyone rescued, all the managers are retired, we didn't have to worry about any leftover scrabs. Sometimes there's some leftover scrabs that attack the scrubs, and that does me no good. And hey, Munch is in this game. Did you remember that? This game is Munch's Oddysee. I don't know, I guess you could have used him to lead the scrabs out of the way, but Abe is just good at everything. Munch is pretty much worthless here. No matter. That's it for Brewery to be. I'll see you folks, next time. Ah, yes, fuel fields. This is gonna be a level. You guys like it. I know, I always blue ball people. I know one guy complains about it a lot. I'll see you later.